Now to that astounding figure of nearly 2.9 billion that no one can account for, but which was spent anyway, just as President Kibaki was leaving office and at the start of President Kenyatta's regime. The Public Accounts Committee report details how 130 million shillings was withdrawn mysteriously in just one day in what must have been a hurried attempt to spend as much of your money as possible in the shortest time. Such is the detail in pages and pages of committee reports that have hardly got to the public domain. For the next 8 days, KTN will dig deep into the PSA report on the government's appropriations account for the financial year 2012-2013. In the first part of our series, The Graft Diaries, Rita Tinina looks at the expenditure of the Ministry of Internal Security, where a junior officer is accused of operating a parallel account which allowed for unlimited withdrawals.
There are issues with national security that, for very good reason, are kept confidential. Mostly, this is to advance or protect Kenya's interests. But according to a report by the Public Accounts Committee, using the cover of confidentiality, specifically confidential expenditure, Kenyans were robbed of billions of shillings. The paper trail of this theft leading right to the doorstep of current Defense PS, Mutea Iringo. A report of the PAC on the appropriations account for the financial year 2012-2013, in the committee's own words, raises grave concern on the so-called confidential expenditure of over 2.8 billion shillings. Some of the funds spent between July 2012 and July 2013 were drawn upon by the Internal Security Ministry with Ringo's approval, despite the fact that he clearly didn't have access to the funds. The report in its findings states as follows. The accounting officer abused his office and usurped the responsibility for confidential security expenditures, which properly lies with the NIS, CID, GSU and the police, not the PS. These agencies have their votes and respective AIE holders. There was no reason for the PS at Office of the President to handle the funds on their behalf, with a considerable portion of the funds transacted in cash. This expenditure was not supported by documents. Only scanty documents such as ministerial certification were availed, but even then, according to the report, they concealed more than they revealed. Irregular cash transfers, undisclosed and unauthorized cash withdrawals, and unaccounted for funds defined cash transactions for the ministry. A Treasury circular dated the 14th of December 2009 set the ceiling for cash withdrawals at 700,000 shillings per week from accounts at the central bank. But in the case of the Internal Security Ministry, that was good only on paper. The ministry went well beyond the ceiling without approval from Treasury. In a single day, the ministry would make several withdrawals. On the 26th of February 2013, for instance, 5 withdrawals ranging from 20 million to 30 million shillings were made. On that day alone, the ministry withdrew 130 million shillings. Without supporting expenditure documents, how exactly the funds were utilized and for what purpose remains a mystery. But it gets worse. The ministry operates an account at the National Bank of Kenya, parallel to the regular account at the central bank. The account is referred to as a police account, but according to the report, it is customized to regularly facilitate unlimited cash withdrawals. The committee availed check numbers of amounts varying from 10 million shillings to 33 million on specific dates between July 2012 and July 2013 as part of its evidence of the theft. And the plot thickens. All transactions were handled by a single officer, one Ben Kehia, a senior accountant at the Office of the President. Kehia generates, examines, and approves payments. And that comes with years of experience. According to the report, Kehia has served in the same position for almost a decade. In fact, he had refused to take up his transfer to the Ministry of Industrialization and no action was taken. The committee has invited the EACC to investigate Kehia's activities at OP. Then there is the procurement of residential houses and commercial units for the police. 7 payments amounting to 1.3 billion shillings were made between the 15th of June and the 23rd of November 2012 to Eastgate Apartments Limited for purchase of 300 residential units. In the purchase, direct procurement was used instead of open tendering. Invitation for sealed bids was made to a single vendor who also determined the purchase price. Direct procurement under the Public Procurement and Disposal Act is restricted to services of an advisory or intellectual nature. Housing, according to the report, does not fit the bill.
From tailor-made procurement to suit-favored vendors to one-man transactions of public funds amounting to billions of shillings, the PAC has invited the EACC to investigate the issues and recommends disciplinary action against officers involved. But with such reports largely out of reach for the public, many Kenyans remain in the dark over how exactly public funds are utilized. Rita Tinina, KTN, Nairobi.